So boys and girls, for this project this week, we are going to be thinking about the different lines that we saw in the video we watched. We're going to think about every line that they talked about, and I want you to practice drawing those different types of lines on a piece of paper. So I'm going to be using crayons today. And if you don't have crayons, you can use any materials that you have at home. But I want to start with crayons. I'm going to choose my favorite color crayon. So I'm going to use this kind of turquoise color to start off with. And I'm going to think about one of the lines that I saw in the video. So remember, you can start on your paper wherever you want. This is all about experimenting and exploring and trying to see how to do those different types of lines that you saw from the video. So I really liked the wavy line. So a wavy line kind of goes up and down, up and down. It makes you think of the ocean. And it has a curve at the top. It doesn't go straight up and down. It kind of curves like a worm wiggling a little bit. Kind of like the ocean waves, okay? So it just kind of curves around. So I want to choose a different color for my next line. And so for my next line, I'm going to use this nice pink color. And I'm going to do I just did a wavy line. I'm gonna do a curvy line. So a wavy line kind of has these little curves to it, but a curvy line goes up and down and curves around like big hills or mountains, or like the hump on a camel's back. So you can kind of see those curves really well. So a wavy line is little curves, but a curvy line is big curves that go up and down. Does everybody see the difference between those two lines? All right, for my next line, I'm going to do a zigzag line. So this is where we talked about how this curves around, but a zigzag line kind of has like this slant that goes up and then slants back down. So it creates kind of like the top of a triangle. Does everybody see that? How I created kind of like a triangle? Or like an upside down V, letter V. Or if I keep going, it creates the letter M. Does everybody see that letter M? So think about the letter M when you do a zigzag line. But instead of just stopping at the letter M, I continue going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So it kind of looks like little mountains. And it goes zigzag, zigzag, all the way across. Can everybody see that? So far we have a zigzag line, we have a curvy line, and we have a wavy line on our paper. Okay, I'm going to do another line, and for this line, I'm going to do a broken line. So a broken line is a horizontal line that's just very little, okay? And then it goes, and then it stops. And then it goes, and then it stops. And it does that all the way across the paper. Go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. And I pick it up every single time, and then I put it back down in a different place, so I leave a little space. Go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. Kind of looks like a road or the spaces on between the lines on your paper. So I have like this little space going on there. So I like to think of a road, but it also does remind me of the spaces on a piece of paper. For my next line, I'm going to do a very tricky line. I'm going to use a darker color to make this so that you can really see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a spiral. For me, a spiral is the hardest one to do because it keeps going around and around. So what I do is I start out by drawing almost like a circle. So I have kind of this circle. It's a letter C right now, actually. So everybody see how I created a letter C? See the C? And what I'm going to do is instead of just stopping there or closing it up like I would a normal circle, I'm actually going to go around the top of that C. And I'm going to go around and curve it around, and then I'm going to keep going around. And that's a spiral. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that again, boys and girls. So I create like the letter C, and instead of closing it to create a circle, I keep going around and around until I want to stop. Okay, I'll do it again. Really slow this time. Letter C. Instead of closing it to make a circle, I go around the top. I go around and around until I stop. Okay, I'm going to do one last one. Create a letter C, make it almost a circle, but don't close it, and go around and around until I stop. Okay, so those are my spirals. And they kind of remind me of snail shells. They're almost going to just walk off the page from that road that we created. Okay? Now I'm going to show you how to make a thick line. So a thick line is created by drawing two lines together. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I like to turn my paper a little bit, but I'm going to draw a horizontal line that goes from one side of my paper all the way across to the other side. Okay, so a horizontal line goes from side to side. So I go from one side and I draw that horizontal line, one side of my paper to the other side. Okay, does everybody see that? One side to the other side. And then what I'm going to do, I said it was two lines, so I'm going to do underneath it, I'm going to put a little space between, and I'm going to draw another horizontal line that also goes from one side of my paper to the other. So does everybody see those two horizontal lines on my paper? So to make it a thick line, instead of two horizontal lines, I'm going to color inside those lines, staying as best as I can inside those lines to color it in. Best as I can, trying to make sure that there's no white spaces. That's important, to try to keep all the white spaces away, because then it doesn't look like it's completely colored in. It looks like it's missing some spots. So there we go, there's my thick line. So it went from being two lines to one thick line. Okay. So because I showed you a horizontal line that goes all the way across, I'm going to show you a vertical line. And a vertical line goes from top to bottom. So it goes from the sky until I reach the ground. That's a vertical line. Sky to the ground. Sky to the ground. Those are vertical lines. I'm going to do this all the way across the bottom part of my paper. Sky to the ground is a vertical line. Does everybody see that? Okay, so now I have these vertical lines. They almost look like teeth. And these are the eyes, this is the top of the mouth, and it looks almost like teeth. So even though I'm just creating lines, it almost looks like I'm creating something more than just lines. And I want to see what you create on your paper. The last line I'm going to do for you is a diagonal line. And a diagonal line starts at the corner of my paper and goes across. Now sometimes we can draw the diagonal line that goes all the way to the bottom, I'm just gonna draw it to my wavy line. So I go from the top corner and I draw a slanted line. So the corner of my paper, draw a slanted line. It almost looks like the start of the letter V or like a side of a letter X. And I can actually cross this over if I want to create kind of like a letter X going the other way. That's still a diagonal line. But look what happens when I cross it over. No longer are they just lines. I've created a shape. It looks kind of like a diamond or a square. So when I use different shapes, different lines, I can create different shapes. How cool is that? So all drawings are lines that come together to create shapes. So it's important to start with a line and take it to the next part to create a shape. So for this week, I want you to experiment and explore and draw different kinds of lines. I want you to try to upload this so that I can have it and I can see all the different work that you created. Thank you so much, boys and girls. I'll see you next time.